Hello, greetings. This is Jaime Licauco. We're making this video for the first time to explain what I have been doing in my research and to correct many misconceptions about me and my work. You see, a lot of people, especially reporters and journalists, have been asking me before, Mr. Licauco, are you a psychic? And my standard answer is no, I'm a psycho. Then they ask the question, are you then a mystic? And I say, no, I'm a mystic. And people laugh at this answer, thinking that I'm being trivial or just being superficial about the whole thing. But actually, I mean it. There's a lot of misconception about this field. And despite the fact that I have written about 18 books now and thousands of articles in magazines and newspapers, people still don't know what I'm doing and why. So maybe it's about time that I explain myself so that we can correct these misconceptions. One of the things that the people ask is whether I talk to the dead, which I don't, whether I can read minds, which I don't, and whether I can tell fortunes, which I don't. So what is it that I'm doing? I'm doing psychic research, trying to probe into things that have been neglected or ignored by the scientific community and by religion. I'm interested in those things that happen without any reason or scientific explanation for them. The extraordinary, the strange, the supernatural fascinates me because, you know, it opens up a doorway to the unknown, a doorway to another dimension of reality, which has been ignored for centuries by Western medical and scientific circles. It's a pity because as Nikola Tesla, that genius inventor, said, pointed out that the day that science studies non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than all the centuries of his existence. And he's correct. Ignoring this field has brought a lot of, misconceptions and uncalled for bickerings among people who don't know better. People laugh at this field, saying it has no scientific basis. Perhaps it is true. There is no scientific basis for all these psychic phenomena, supernatural phenomena, because science was not meant to study these things. Science is perfect. You cannot improve on the scientific method anymore. It's perfect in determining what is true and what is not, what is valid and what is not valid, what is good medicine and not what is not good medicine. These are all been done 20 centuries before, establishing rigid scientific experimentation. And you cannot improve on this anymore. They're perfect. But science was meant to study only physical phenomena. It was not meant to study supernatural things or things that are invisible, especially those that cannot be verified by scientific instruments or cannot be detected by our 5 senses of perception. So this field has remained open field, and scientists who have ventured into study of this have been ridiculed. Sometimes their license have been revoked because of this. But unknown to many, quite a number of great minds in science have delved into psychic phenomena and paranormal phenomena and even the occult. People like Isaac Newton, for instance, has delved into alchemy and other things. The author of the Modern Psychology, the author, what's his name? William James. William James was a president of the American or British Psychical Research Society. many others, Charles Richet and Carl Jung, for example, a great psychologist, studied the occult, mediumship, even extraterrestrials. And yet people don't realize that many of the geniuses of the scientific world have been intrigued by this field. So it was out of curiosity on my part why I delved into it. Well, I thought it was out of curiosity until I found out who I was in the past, but that's another story. I thought I was just curious about these things and studied them because nobody tried to do this. So the first thing I studied were about faith healers of the Philippines and about psychic phenomena. I was intrigued by the fact that there are certain people who can do things that other people cannot do. People who can walk on fire, people who can tell the future, people who can see ghosts and other apparitions, people who can communicate with the spirits of the dead and other entities of the higher worlds. These things happen. And yet people have difficulty believing them because science has not proven them. Reincarnation is another area that I have had great interest in exploring. I cannot prove to you scientifically that reincarnation is true, but neither can anyone disprove it. And that's the beauty of this, that no one can disprove it. Although I cannot prove it scientifically, neither can you disprove that it is not true, or disprove that it is true. You see, there are many things in this world that cannot be explained by science. As Shakespeare said, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than I dreamt of in your philosophy. In my explorations in this field, I have come across many interesting people who have studied this and who have demonstrated unusual abilities that cannot be disputed. Of course, it has been disputed by skeptics. Like Uri Geller had met in 1994 or 95 in Dusseldorf in Germany. He's the one that popularized spoon bending with his mind, or telekinesis. But he does other things like germinating radish seed in his hand, like duplicating drawings made by somebody and transmitting the message telepathically to him, and he's able to all the time be able to duplicate what has been drawn, and many others. And people like Luis Gasparetto of Brazil, who can paint the masters like Van Gogh, Matisse, Picasso, Raphael, and name it. And he can draw them while in a trance in about 5 to 10 minutes with his hand. And it will be exactly what the masters have drawn. Difficult to distinguish the two. Where do they get these powers? How do they do it? This is fascinating, and yet scientists have ignored it. I don't know why. Many people see ghosts all over the world. Yet every year during Halloween, people ask me, are there really ghosts? Despite the fact that so many people around the world have seen them, have encountered them, have talked to them. Scientists do not believe that there's extraterrestrials or unidentified flying objects or UFOs, but hundreds of thousands of people around the world have seen them. They even leave marks on Earth that they have been there. They have been here. So we are not alone. Yet, since it cannot be proven scientifically, these things are ignored. So what have happened to me is that during all these years, since maybe 1975 up to 2020, this year, I've not stopped researching on this, and I've traveled around the world and met some very interesting people, and I've witnessed such a phenomena, extraordinary phenomena that few people have ever witnessed. And because of this, I am fully convinced of the reality of a higher world, of a higher dimension of reality. And it's very interesting that even quantum physics now is probing into this field, and they are theorizing that there must be a parallel universe, the many worlds theory in quantum physics. There is a convergence of the findings of quantum physicists and paranormal phenomena, mysticism, and psychic phenomena. And the more they probe into the ultimate constituent of matter, the subatomic particles of matter, the more they see parallelism between mysticism and what happens in the subatomic particles of matter. Nawala. So, I'll continue. Okay. There are still many things that can be said about what I'm doing. There are, for example, I started by saying that it was out of curiosity that I began studying this, because my undergraduate degree is in philosophy and English, and I also asked the question of why, and why, and in doing so, trying to fill in the void, I got into a lot of deeper and deeper into this matter, to this field, until I could not get out anymore. I had to know, I had to find an explanation that is acceptable to me. You see, I am not doing this to prove to anybody that it is true. I'm not interested in converting people to my way of thinking. I respect all the reviews, and I respect all religions, and I am not here to convert them to this way of thinking. I'm interested in talking to people who are interested in listening. But if they don't want to, that's fine with me, because I'm not interested in converting them to this field of knowledge. But this is true. But more and more people of science are beginning to wonder there might be something into it. And there is. And in my probing in this field, which I thought only was out of mere curiosity, I realized that I was doing it in order to fulfill my mission on this earth, why I came back to earth. And if reincarnation is true, I have been told that I was a monk in Egypt, a scribe, a keeper of esoteric wisdom in ancient Egypt, about 3,500 years old, during the time of Ramses. I have no recollection of this. But when I went to Egypt, in Cairo, in the 1990s, I was amazed at how I felt so at home in Cairo. And when I went to the Pyramid of Giza and tried to enter it, I could not enter. I would fall down into a trance. Why? Because the vibration, the energy of the Great Pyramid of Giza is so strong, my body couldn't take it. And so I was very disappointed that I was not able to go inside the pyramid. But I was there, I saw it, and I was amazed. I was just like Napoleon Bonaparte. I read that when he went to Cairo, to Egypt, and saw the pyramid, he stared at this pyramid with mouth open in wonder. Who could have made this huge monument? Up to now, people are still wondering who made this and why. They thought it was a burial place for pharaohs. They found no mummies. They found no skeletons inside the Pyramid of Giza. So where are these burials? if it is a burial chamber. It's something else. There are many theories about the pyramid. I don't want to go into this right now. It is a magnetic field. It's an electrical field. It's a powerhouse. It has healing powers too, and many others. There are many theories about it. Who made it? Some people said it was made by extraterrestrials, although it could have been made by slaves of human beings, but under the direction of extraterrestrials. Some people laugh at this. And yet when they study the pyramids and the precision in which it's been made, they're amazed about how this was made possible, knowing the technology at that time, which is not present. No amount of technical knowledge at that time could have built this pyramid without extraordinary help from extraordinary people, probably not from the earth. But all these theories, all the things I've been doing, some people laugh at this, and I laugh with them. And perhaps I will have the last laugh. I will continue to study this field until I am satisfied about the validity of this from my own point of view and not to convince people. If you're interested in this adventure, come along with me. I've written 18 books now, and probably we can do again what I did in radio for 23 years at over DCMM, the Inner Mind and Radio, where I accepted questions from people. And you can do this, either write to me at my email at jaime.licauco@yahoo.com, or maybe here and ask questions. And I shall try to answer them and do the thing we used to do in Egypt 3,500 years ago. I'll be waiting for your questions and your participation in this attempt to explain the things I'm doing and to correct many misconceptions about this field. Thank you, and hope to see you again in the near future. This is Jaime Licauco signing off.